Hi there, racing fans. We have Grant Paddock on the line to preview the 9-race program at Fairview. All 9 races on the Polytrack. Friday, the 11th of August. A nice early start to the race meeting due off at 11:35. As you all know by now, we record the day prior to the race meeting, so it's Thursday morning as I welcome Grant. Grant, first of all, how are you doing and how's the weather?
Morning, Graham. Morning, Panthers. Yeah, all good this side. We've had good weather for a change. I must be honest, lovely warm days, and expecting a warm day tomorrow at the races as well.
Okay, right, let's get straight into it. The first race is a maiden plate over 1,000 metres. We mentioned already it's a 9-race program, so the first race does not form part of the exotics. But it's a keenly contested affair between Gavin Smith and Alan Greef. Obviously, Gavin Smith, we know, came out on top as far as the Eastern Cape Championship for the season ended 31 July was concerned. Bridgerton for Gavin Smith at 13-10. Principessa Mia, 14-10 for Alan Greef. Richard Fourie back in town from holiday. And the only other runner quoted in single figures is number 1, Miraculous Man, at 33-10. Which way are you leaning, Grant?
Graham, I'm leaning towards the Greef's Principessa Mia, purely because of the 1,000 metres. Bridgerton seemed to have done slightly better over 12-1300. Principessa Mia, a very good run last time out. Just caught very, very late. Very weak field, this very shallow. They'll run 1-2. Miraculous Man will run 3, and anything of the rest can run 4th. But I'm going to go for the filly here, Principessa Mia, to beat Bridgerton.
There we go. Let's get into the exotics. Let's go on to race 2, a maiden plate for fillies and mares over 1,200 metres. This is the first leg of the bipot, and the bipot is Grant's chosen bet for the day. I'll make reference to his numbers as we move through the card, but he'll recap it all for us at the end of the show. Race 2, a maiden plate for fillies and mares over 1,200 metres. Grant has included 3 numbers in his pick 6. All of the favourite, number 6, Amazing Colours at 16-10, not pick 6, the bipot. Number 8, Josie Mo is at 6-1. Number 9, Quirk of Fate is at 5-1. Number 10, a first timer, Hasta La Vista Baby, that's at 5-1. So those are the runners quoted in single figures, with number 6, Amazing Colours, who's run 4 consecutive seconds, favourite at 16-10. But Grant, you don't trust this favourite. You've backed it up in the bipot with number 8, Josie Mo, and 9, Quirk of Fate?
Yeah, Graham, I don't trust them. You know, if they can run 4 seconds, they can run a third too. So she looks the right horse in the race. She probably is the right horse in the race. Louis up, decent draw. And I see it's a blinker strike as well, which is a big plus. She has been a filly that has raced green in the past. Last time out, she was just beaten by a better horse in Baby Love, there's no doubt. I have backed her up with the other 2, Josie Mo and Quirk of Fate. There's no talk on the ground about Hasta La Vista Baby. If I look at the breeding, it looks like she might be needing a little bit of a trip. This could just be the beginning for her. And then another new horse in the province, Taste Maker from Durban, has solid form there and could be anything but coming back after a layoff. Tara's horses normally just need 1 or 2 to find their feet in Port Elizabeth, and then they get cracking on. But yeah, Amazing Colours, Josie Mo, and Quirk of Fate for me, Graham, and not too straightforward this race.
So there we heard it, 3 numbers to kick off the bipot, 6, 8 and 9, although clearly the inform Amazing Colours remains the one to beat. Race 3 is a maiden plate, 1,400 metres. It's the opening leg of the Place Accumulate on a 9-race program. 12:35 is the off time. This one does seem a little more competitive, a little more open. Number 1, US Open at 7-2. Number 5, Ragazzo Grande is at 15-4, along with number 6, Launch Code at 15-4. Number 3, Twice a Saint, runner-up in its last 3 starts, is at 4-1. And the long-time struggling but consistent maiden, number 4, Opening Ceremonies at 5-1. Double figures and better the rest. Talk us through the opening leg of the Place Accumulator.
Yeah, Graham, I think the Mitchley Yard very strong in this race with US Open and Launch Code. I do prefer US Open. He had issues going into his first run and still ran a very good race. He's over that. His work has been very, very good at home. Launch Code's a little bit of the trainers are calling lately, a quirky kind of a horse. He played up quite badly in his last run before the race, but if he settles down, he'll be a big runner. He ran from a very bad draw last time out, and this time got plumb 1 draw. So I think they'll run 1-2. Twice the Saint, obviously, is holding solid form. The Place Accumulator, the 1 and the 6 are going to get you through, and the bipot will do exactly the same.
So 1 and 6 in the bipod, the two Kelly Mitchley inmates, number 1 US Open and number 6 Launch Code. Those are the two that Grant is including in the second leg of the bipod and the opening leg of the place accumulator. But both did mention Twice the Saint, who's knocking very loudly at the door. Let's get on to the pick 6, race 4, which is a Fillies and Mares 72 handicap over 1,400 meters. And again, being a handicap, there are many with chances, and the betting is wide open. Number 7, Fur Baby, makes her debut in the Eastern Cape with some pretty decent high-felt form behind her name. Again, it's the Kelly Mitchley stable. JP van der Merwe takes the ride. That's the early favourite at 4-1. Number 1, Rose of Bayeux, is at 6-1. Number 2, Holly's View, is at 13-2. Number 3, Demigod, has been there and thereabouts in all of her recent runs. That's at 11-2. Number 4, Rosa Dorada, is at 6-1. Richard Faree's Mount, number 6, For All We Know, is at 6-1. I've mentioned that number 7, Fur Baby, is at 4-1. But there's one runner here. That's number 11. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name, but number 11, who's selected to run second by Trevor Reid in the computer form, and is one of two horses that Grant is suggesting for the bipod, being the favourite, number 7, Fur Baby, and number 11. And number 11, Gavin Smith's runner by Master of My Fate. Grant, this is 16-1 in the market. Both you and Trevor Reid fancy this.
Yeah, Ikrem Belibusubizane. Tricky name, but very, very good last run. Solid front runner. Our Polytrack's running very quick. No weight on her back, 52.5. She's going to go out and try and steal this race. She's definitely the wrong price, Graham. I can see her shortening a bit, especially on the play side. I do like Fur Baby. I've been lucky enough to see a bit of work, and she's really, really putting up some solid work. She's going to be a big runner from a one draw, there's no doubt. And then horses like For All We Know, Rosa Dorada, Demigod, even Rosa Bayou, she has been running against stronger, but she battles to put two races the same together. So it will be tricky for her. I have gone Fur Baby from Ikembele Bushibizane to run second, and then probably Richard's right For All We Know, probably looking for it a little bit further now, and definitely Louis' horse Rosa Dorada. But my bipot, I've just gone 7 and 11, and I think you'll get through comfortably.
Good to hear that number 7, Fur Baby, is putting up good work coming into this race, the 4-year-old daughter of Ideal World, and maybe the swinger with number 11. Grant pronounces the name so well, I'm sure they'll get him to call the race. I'm not going to hazard it. So 7 and 11, the swinger in race 4, but Fur Baby the top choice. Nice each-way value about number 11 and a few others with chances. As we go to race 5, this is a novice plate over 1,600 meters. We don't see too many novice plates. It's nice to have one on the card. It's race 5. It's the first leg of Jackpot 1. It's a 9-race card, I remind you again. And this race features Grant's best bet of the day. Number 3, Central City, priced up at even money for Richard Fourie and Alan Greef. They are betting pretty much 7-1 bar the 1. Number 1, Woodland Ridge, is at 7-1. Number 2, Zatara Magic, is at 7-1. Number 4, Last Storm, 7-1. And number 9, Global Banker, is at 8-1. So the firm favourite here is number 3, Central City, at even money. You're not looking for anything to beat Central City, it would appear.
No, Graham. Even money is a good price in this field. The right kind of a race for him. He's been racing against far stronger. Top jock, decent draw. The only danger on merit ratings, Zatara Magic's just come back from running in a 3-2 2 weeks ago. So I don't know what that took out of him, and he got beaten 21 lengths. So Central City, race at his mercy, banker in everything, and you'll be flying through.
Yeah, it's interesting, as you mentioned, the best weighted column, clearly number 2, Zatara Magic, well clear of in the ratings of number 3, Central City. But clearly 1,600 metres, very much on the short side for number 2, Zatara Magic. He's been campaigning over much further. So we're going to go, as Grant has suggested, very strongly in race 5. The banker bet, the nap bet for the day, number 3, Central City, that man Richard Fourie for Alan Greef. So there's our banker for the day in race 5, Central City. Race 6 is the first leg of Jackpot 2. It's a classified stakes over 1,900 metres. It's a 10-strong field for this 1,900-metre event. Number 1, Jaspero's at 3-1. Number 4, Esos In good form, that's at 5-1. Number 5, Silver Stardust for Richard Fourie and Alan Krief at 9-2. 7, Alado's Pride, 7-1. And the co-favourite is number 9, Mingshi at 3-1. That's also from the Kelly Mitchell stable. And Mingshi, the 6-year-old son of Dynasty, has been very consistent of late. I have had a look at Ron's bipods. I know that numbers 1, Jaspero, and 9, Mingshi, the 2 favourites, will carry his hopes. You're clearly not expecting any kind of an upset here, Grant.
Yeah, listen, you know, they should get you through. Mingshi's holding solid form over the course and distance. He was caught a bit deep, caught a bit wide last time out, and he ran on very strongly to get beaten by a decent horse. That horse, Bournemouth, is probably going to go on through the divisions, and on that run and the weight turnover, he's probably the horse to beat. Jaspera's done nothing wrong. He's a solid horse, got a very good jockey on. And you got the 2 Ziesman Westhuizen horses, Isos and Alado's Pride. Isos is held by Mingshi, and then Silver Stardust has probably got to go in the pick 6, but I'm happy in the bipod to use 1 and 2. My slight preference is for the 9 Mingshi with the turnover of the weights, but in the pick 6 you might need a few more to be sure. The 2 Ziesman Westhuizen horses and Silver Stardust.
Okay, so 1 and 9 to get us through the bipod, but as you heard there from Grant, you need to extend that list a little bit further to get yourself through the pick 6. Race 7, the first leg of the final pick 3. It's a Fillies and Mares 76 handicap over 1,900 metres. This is the last leg of the bipod, and Grant has included 3 runners. We'll get to that in a moment. The betting tells you the whole story. Number 1, Hazy Crazy Night, is 6-1. 2, Aerial View is 5-1. 4, Chronicles of Nania is 5-1. 5, Dame of Flames is a favourite at 3-1. Number 6, Hey Siri, the second choice in the market at 4-1. And number 7, Lady Writer at 15-2. So the betting clearly suggests that the majority of this 9-horse field have chances. And Grant has decided to include numbers 5, Dame of Flame, 6, Hey Siri, and 7, Lady Writer in the final leg of the bipod. Take us through the race, Grant.
Yeah, I think that Dame of Flames form line will stand up. They ran first, second, third last time out, and I think they'll do it exactly the same. There's a horse like Aerial View down in class a little bit. She's got to be a bit of a runner. She has to be added in to your pick 6. Those 4 horses will definitely get you through the pick 6. The bipod, as I mentioned, 5, 6, and 7. Chronicles Narnia is a tricky one. She's going a bit of a trip for the first time. She hasn't been 1900, so it'll be interesting to see how if she stays. Louis the King shouldn't have a problem, but she's out of a trippy mare, so you know, that could hold her back a bit. But the way Dame of Flames won last time out, she should go back-to-back here, and the bipod cover being Hey Siri and Lady Writer.
Okay, race 8. The penultimate race is an MR66 handicap over 1,300 metres, and again being a handicap, many with chances. 12 runners are carded, no scratchings at this stage. And they bet 3-1 the field. Number 6, Arturo, interesting runner, Richard Fourie for Alan Krief. Only had the 2 starts. The 3-year-old, the now newly turned 3-year-old son of Duke of Marmalade, he's only had the 2 starts, and he won his maiden at the second time of asking. But from an 11 gate, I would have thought he had a bit of an uphill battle against some hard knockers here, which include number 1, Sir Neil Longsword, who's on a hat-trick. That's at 11-2. Number 2, Dalil, 6-1. Grant's value bet for the day, number 3, Fiery Duke at 6-1, number 4, Mr. Bodacious at 5-1, and those are the runners along with the favourite Arturo at 3-1 that are in single figures. When I looked at this race, Grant, I'm not the expert in Port Elizabeth, but Arturo is not the kind of horse that I would have expected to see at the top of the boards as he steps out of the maidens into handicap company as a newly turned 3-year-old, but maybe I'm wrong. How do you see it?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Very lucky to win his last race. Fell over the line. They say just won. He did just win from 11 draw. His first run on the poly, he was all at sea, green, battled a bit. I think he's going to find it difficult, Graham. I think he's a false favourite. I must be very honest with you. There's a couple of hard-knocking horses that are holding solid form. The 1-horse, 2-horse Dalil, Fiery Duke. Mr. Bodacious is a question mark of the 1,300. I think he's better over the 1,012. And then a horse like Cool Runnings. You've got to watch this horse go to the start. He runs well for Jose Ramzan from a 1 draw. And if he goes down well, he's definitely a player that's got to go in. Tricky kind of a race, though, Graham. I've gone for Dalil to beat Fiery Duke, the 1-horse, and then finishing off with Cool Runnings to run fourth. But it is a tricky race. Punters have got to be tread warily here.
Trappy Handicap Race 8, the penultimate on the 9-race program out there at Fairview on Friday, the 11th of August. Watch, as is good advice there from Grant, because Cool Runnings is around 12-14 to 1. He's drawn in gate 1. He could have the run of the race if he goes down nicely at big odds, but the value bet for Grant for the day is number 3, Fiery Duke, who's drawn alongside in gate number 2. Delil, also big chance, but many with chances, so you're going to have to go wide in the jackpot and the pick sixes. We do both believe that the newly turned 3-year-old Arturo, we respect Richard Fourie, we respect Alan Greef, we respect the fact that the son of Duke of Marmalade only took 2 races to win a maiden, but as you heard from Grant, maybe a little lucky, and he's going to be up against it in this hard-knocking handicap race. The 9th and final is the Fillies and Mares 66 handicap over 1,200 metres. And these races are always difficult to narrow down, and this race is no exception. 14 carded, and interestingly, only 3 of the 14 are quoted in single figures, and they bet 5 to on the field. Number 2, Montrezor, and number 7, Global Goddess, both at 5 to 1. 5 Open Secret for Richard Fourie and Alan Greef at 11 to 2. Montrezor, of course, will be ridden by Marco van Rensburg for Cliffy Miller. The interesting stat there is that Marco van Rensburg has yet to taste defeat on Montrezor, having ridden her to victory in her last 2 starts. Luim Kotwa rides number 7, Global Goddess, both the last 2 runs behind Montrezor. So is Montrezor going to confirm the form firstly with Global Goddess? Let's chat about those 2 in relation to each other, because they've run against each other in their last 2 starts. Is Montrezor going to come out ahead of Global Goddess for the 3rd time in a row?
Graham, I actually think so. I'll be very honest with you. The only question mark is obviously that 60.5 kilograms. She's up 4 kilos in her last win. The form should stand up. Global Goddess and her should run first and second. Then there's this horse, Open Secret. Now, I've done my life on this horse, honestly, and she ran a shocking race last time out when I really thought she'd go very, very close. But the big thing is here, they've added the blinkers. It's not in the race card, but they have done the change. The blinkers on. She's a blinker strike. She can be absolutely anything. There's a couple of races where she's finished off in unbelievable times of 21.9, 22.7. And if she does that again, she could be a very, very big runner in a race like this. But Montrezor and Global Goddess definitely are the 2 that should be on top. Open Secret, and then a horse like Grew of Ice from the Lunga Gila yard from a 1-draw with Pumium Joka. Loves the poly track, probably a better distance now, and also a horse that can run into the back end of Cortez Graham. But the Global Goddess, Montrezor form line should stand up.
Glad you mentioned number 3, Grew of Ice, because if it didn't, I was going to ask you about her, because when I was going through the card from that 1 gate, I thought she could be perhaps a surprise package in the race amongst those that are quoted at 10 to 1 and longer. But as you heard there from Grant, we are expecting the race to be decided between Montrezor and Global Goddess. Montrezor obviously goes well for Marco van Rensburg, is neatly drawn in gate 4, is in terrific form. Cliffy Miller's doing well. Global Goddess, as you can see, will on paper get closer, but it doesn't always work out that way. And watch out for the blinker strike, number 5, Open Secret. Now, I mentioned earlier that Grant's bet for the day is the Bipot, and he's got a best bet and a value bet. So to recap it all, Grant, take us through your selections.
Yeah, thank you, Graham. My best bet for the day, race 5, number 3, Central City. My value bet for the day, race 8, number 3, Fiery Duke. And my Bipot for the day, first leg, numbers 6, 8, and 9, by 1 and 6, by 7, 11, by Banker 3, by 1 and 9, by 5, 6, and 7.
Thank you, Grant. And as always, we're looking forward to a very, very exciting and competitive day's racing at Fairview, the 9-race program on the poly track. Close finishes will probably be the order of the day, the majority of the races, and Central City, the nap for the day. Grant, thank you very much. I hope it all goes well for you at Fairview.
Thank you very much, Graham, and good luck to the punters tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Grant. Cheers for now. We'll see you next time.